Alright, what we've got here, again, another great product from DJI. What we've got is the DJI 450 flame wheel kit. Comes with just about everything you need. And we've got the new anticipated NAZA controller. So let's just see what we've got. In this small box, we've got the controller, package of leads, power module, and our data link cable to hook it to the computer. Pretty nicely packaged so that everything's there. Now let's see what we've got in here. Well, motors, all nicely packaged. Got the 4 motors. Speed controllers, each package, 2 speed controllers in it. Frame arms. Package with a Velcro strap, and it looks like some other Velcro, and a little wrench, looks like a propeller wrench. Nicely done. Your screws to put it together. Upper and lower plate. Now this plate also is the lower plate is a power distribution board, which is a really nice feature. Another package of screws, looks like the motor mounting screws. And looks like one full set of propellers and a spare propeller of each. All nicely packaged. What we're going to do now, give us a minute, we'll get this all unpacked and let's get this thing built. Okay, we've got everything unpacked. This is what comes in the kit. This particular kit came with 2 red arms and 2 white arms. I'm not big on the white, so I had some black arms from a previous flame wheel kit and we're going to do it. Now, some of the interesting things I noticed, the ESCs, this is really great. Your motor's plugged directly into little bullet connectors that are already on these 30 amp ESCs. The motors look really high quality, really nice stuff. What I want to show you now, this is the lower plate, or the power distribution board. And you'll notice where each arm bolts in, we have a solder connection. So our ESCs from each arm will solder right to here. Over here, we have a main solder joint. That's where we're going to solder in our lead going to our battery. Let me get all this soldering done, and we'll go ahead and show you how easy this is to build. Then we'll hook it up to the computer with the software and show you how easy it is to set this thing up, and we'll take it out and fly it. Okay, what I've done, got all my speed controllers and my power wire soldered to my lower board. Now let me tell you something that I like to do is always solder the power line on first. Then I took my voltmeter here and I checked my voltage just to make sure I didn't have negative voltage and everything was flowing right. So what we're going to do now, we've got everything on here. I've decided I'm going to put the NAZA controller on one side and the receiver on the other, and my battery mounted to the top plate. So we're going to go ahead and get it built up and see what we end up with. I guess the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take these really nice motors and I'm going to mount them to the arms with the supplied screws that come with it. So we'll go ahead and put one on. And keep in mind, watch the direction of your wires. I mean, you probably don't want them facing out from the arms. Takes a little bit of care, just a little bit of planning, and make sure you've got everything where you want it to be. It looks like these motors just fit into here rather nicely. We'll go ahead and do them, and then I'll go ahead and mount this motor on directly to the frame. Once all the motors are mounted and the arms are mounted to the frame, then we'll go ahead and hook up the NAZA control unit, and we'll get into the NAZA software that I've already got load it on the computer, the NASA Assistant. You can download that from the DJIinnovations.com website. Very simple to do. Make sure our motor's tight here. You don't need a motor flying off with a brand new one. Now, as I said, it's my preference, I'm going to use the red and black arms. I'm going to put the red arms in the front, and then I'll go ahead and put my black arms on the back. So let me get the rest of these motors mounted. It's very easy to mount it to the frame. You got two little holes here, and you get some shorter screws. We're going to take the shorter screw, and we'll put it through the frame. Keep in mind, I've got to pay attention. I'll put my power line on the back, so my first red arm, I'll go ahead and mount it. Put the screw through the frame, and as you'll see, on the lower side of the arm, you get some nice threaded inserts. Let's go ahead and put the screw right in there, and we'll tighten him up. Put the other one in, and we're a quarter of the way to flying this thing, which should be really exciting. For those of you who've flown the Wukong system before, it's just simply amazing, and I don't expect anything less out of this particular unit here. Now we'll make sure that these are nice and tight. Some people prefer to put a little Loctite on them. Don't use permanent Loctite, just in case you do have to get it apart. But as you can see, the arm bolts to the frame. Your speed controllers, you run your wires underneath, will fit rather nicely right underneath. We'll go ahead and get them mounted. Let me get the rest of the arms mounted. Then we'll mount this top plate to these holes here with the supplied screws, and then we'll wire this guy up and see what it does. Okay, as you can see, we've got our arms on, our motors on. I decided to mount the NASA control unit right here in the center because we do have our little power module where we connect to the computer, and I wanted to put that out there, and I put the receiver over here. So now all I have to do is plug my ESCs in to the corresponding channels, M1, M2, M3, and M4. Now because this is the front, this will be my number 1. You go counterclockwise, number 2, number 3, and number 4 ESC. Once I plug those in, on the opposite side of the controller, I have 5 of these leads plugged in. One will go to my aileron, one will go to my elevator, the throttle, the rudder, and then I have one plugged into the U channel. Because I'm using a 6-channel receiver, what I'm going to do is use that U channel to the auxiliary one. I'll put it in aircraft mode on the radio. That will give me the 3-position switch. I'll assign it so that I can go and adjust my manual and my attitude mode. And this also has a failsafe. So I'll go ahead and get it hooked up. Now notice I don't have my speed controllers plugged in. We're simply going to mount them underneath. What you need to do first is get everything hooked up. And then once you're hooked up, don't put the propellers on. We'll go through the software and then we'll start them up to make sure that we're rotating the proper direction. On this particular one, this number 1 prop and the number 3 prop should be counter-rotating. In other words, rotating counterclockwise. The number 2 and the number 4 will be clockwise props. Then we'll check our controls, make sure everything's so. Let me get our top plate bolted on. We'll get the wires plugged in. And I suggest you always double check your wiring. Then we'll go ahead with the radio setup, the software setup, and then we'll put it up in here and see what it can do. Okay, I've got everything placed on here. Let me tell you a few things. One, I decided to put the controller in the middle because I would put the LED or the power module out here. This power module will connect to your power also. It's what supplies power to the receiver and to the controller. You want to button up your wires with some wire ties so you don't have wires all over the place. Now, one of the things that I like to do, you have all of these solder connections coming in from your ESCs. Great idea. It's just I've learned from experience I don't like positive connections exposed. You know, if a wire hits them, it could short out. What I do is I've just got a tube of clear silicone, and I'll just hit all of those joints with some clear silicone, let it dry. That way it protects it in case there's any kind of a short. So we've got everything mounted. Got my receiver on. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to take our top plate. You can see I've already looped this through, makes it a little bit easier. That's where I'm going to mount my battery. And I'm going to go ahead and put this on. Once we get it on, then what we're going to do, we're going to hook to the software, and we're going to show you how to do all of this and how to get through some of the problems that people are experiencing. The DJI system is pretty foolproof, although if you're not used to this kind of stuff, I could see where you would have a problem. We're going to try and get this done. Now, anytime you buy a DJI product from their dealers, DJI is very adamant about that customer being supported. They're adamant about upgrades, updates, firmware updates, anything to make a better experience for the end user. One of the things I've noticed with some of the dealers, they just want to be dealers. They want to sell you something, and that's it. They've sold it, they made their money, move on to the next one. If you purchase DJI from a dealer, they should be providing you support. If they're not providing support, I suggest you find a better DJI dealer. There are plenty of them who provide support. If you've got questions, the worst thing in the world is to be sitting there saying, what do I do now? I don't want to see anybody go through that. DJI doesn't want to see anybody go through it. So pick your dealer. I know several reputable dealers. If you've got a problem, they're going to spend the time to walk you through it. Now, guys that are used to quadcopters or, you know, the radio control stuff usually have an easier time. We're seeing a lot of new guys that just, this sparks their interest, it's the way they want to go. If you don't have a lot of knowledge, what you will have is questions, and you need a company and you need a dealer that's going to provide you that support. So I would almost want to say, stay away from a dealer that's not providing support. That's 50% of your success is the support that you get out of DJI and the dealer. Now, DJI can't be answering the support for all their dealers worldwide. Your local dealer should be doing that. And let's just be smart about it and make sure that you have that so that you don't have any problems. Now, I've only put 2 screws in each arm in order to speed us along. I'm sure you don't want to watch me put 2 more in each arm. So what we've got now is we've got our unit, pretty rugged unit. I mean, you're not, this thing is not something that's going to break. They did a really good job with this thing. So what I'm going to do now, if you look over here, you've got a little connection. That's how you connect to your computer. Okay? Now, one of the first things you need to do is bind this system to the radio. So before I even hook to the computer, that's what I'm going to do. I'm using a JR9503 radio, so I can show you how that works. Some people use different radios. Sometimes you're just going to have to refer to your manual. I'm going to put this bind plug in the appropriate position in my receiver. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take my battery. I have my radio here. I've already got it set up for the Naza. I've got it set in airplane mode. And I'm going to go ahead and put power to this. You can hear my speed controllers coming on, and you're seeing a little LED light. What I'm going to do is go ahead and bind it. I'm just not seeing right now any bind on my receiver. That light should be flashing. So we'll go ahead and try to get this bind plug back in just a different slot here, because I need to see that light flashing. If I'm not seeing it flashing, it's not going to bind with my radio. As you can see now, my receiver is flashing. What I'll do is I'm going to hold the bind button on the back of the radio, and I'm going to go ahead and hold that button in until that light remains solid. What that tells me is now I have a bind with my radio. Okay, we've got it built, we've got the props on, we're ready to go. Let's see what the Naza can do. This is the first time picking it up. We're going to go ahead and arm the engines. She starts right up. We'll pick it up. We're in attitude mode. Seems to be holding altitude really well. It's in attitude mode, and it's doing a really good job right now. So now that it's moving around, let's see what its stability is like. We'll bring it down a little bit. Keep your eye on it. Definitely holding its attitude pretty good, so I'm feeling comfortable with it. Definitely a lot more agile. It will definitely fly the way you want it to fly. Okay, I've run it in manual. Manual definitely going to take some getting used to. It's very agile. Attitude mode, it's just unbelievably smooth. We still have the basic gain set on this thing. It's right out of the box. We haven't even set the fail-safe yet, so we're going to have to go ahead and show you how to do that and how to program it. But as you can see, arm the motors, lift it up, and go fly. Very comfortable to fly. The one thing I can say, DJI has definitely done it again. This is one of the nicest quads I've ever had the chance to fly. Okay, we've got her all done. She flew well. You do need to set up your fail-safe. I don't want to get into that because it's going to depend on what radio you have, and I don't have every radio to show every person how to set up. But do set up your fail-safe. Couple of things to remember. Before you put your props on, you want to make sure you're getting the proper rotation on the motors. This one's counterclockwise, counterclockwise, clockwise, and clockwise. If this was running the wrong way, it's as simple as reversing two of your wires on the ESC to change the direction of the motor. You do need to make sure that they're running in the right direction. The other thing is you want to make sure that your pitch, back and forth, when you push the stick forward, it goes forward, pull it back, it goes. If you push the stick to the left, it tilts to the left, to the right, tilts here. When you use your rudder, You rudder to the left, it rotates to the left. One of the easiest ways to do it, and I recommend also be very careful, get two people, get somebody with a firm grip to just hold it, and let them, and try your controls before you lift it off the ground. The extra time that you take to make sure everything's running right, it's going to keep you running, and you're going to have a good time with it, and you're not going to have any problems. So I hope you enjoy your new quadcopter, and happy flying.